Hey everyone, welcome to episode 16 of the Knife Nuts podcast, and we are joined with the magnificent Elijah Isham.
Yay.
That's right. Everybody clap now. Gentlemen, how are you?
I'm good.
Elijah,
Doing
are you
good.
well?
Yeah, very well.
Cool. We're
Doing
excited
good.
to have you. This is going to be fun.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming. So,
What should we start off
I don't know. It's been a busy couple of weeks for me. So, I guess knife stuff's been in and out for me. I got a couple of knives in from Greg Geckel for us to check out. We'll talk about them later in the show.
All right.
Don't know what else I have in new stuff. Dave, how about you?
Yeah. I got two knives that I had the 2017 versions of and then got the 2018 versions of now. So the first one's Real Steel Megalodon Eclipse, which is the sequel to the Real Steel Megalodon 2017, which we have raved about for, I don't know, all 16 episodes now.
They ruined it.
They didn't ruin it. It's just, at first, I kind of didn't like it as much. It just doesn't feel as special as the original, but it's still a really good knife. Yeah, I mean, it's just, maybe it just hasn't recaptured the magic that the first one really did. I mean, because it was just incredible, the 2017 model. So there's just weird choices, like the lock side isn't tumbled at all. It's just blasted, which is odd to me. And the needle bearings that everyone loves so much are gone. But it's still good. But the one thing that annoys me the most is it's like 2 to 30 seconds of an inch shorter, the blade, than the 2017 model. And if you have them side by side, you can see it, and I don't understand why. And it's just an endless point of OCD for me.
Seems like a lot of cost cutting on that knife.
Maybe. I mean, it's got lightning pockets milled into the carbon fiber, which is just bizarre thing to do. I mean, I feel like that just adds money since milling carbon fiber is expensive.
I feel like they just put the same program on a different material.
Yeah, absolutely. But they probably didn't need to do it. I mean, carbon fiber is light enough. How much lighter do you need to get the carbon fiber? Like, seriously. But yeah,
You can always get lighter.
it's pretty good. And then I got the Lion Steel. I think it's the Shuffler is the name of it. It's the slip joint with the clip point, and it is awesome. I like it even better than the original one. So I still won't buy. I still won't buy any of their goddamn frame locks, but I'm okay.
And I
with this.
ordered one based on your recommendation, so if I hate it, I'm blaming you.
I don't really see how you could hate it. It's a slip joint. There's like 3 pieces. There's only so much that can go wrong with it.
Stranger things have
But
happened.
yeah, it's Lion Steel, so they definitely, if anyone, they have the ability to fuck it up somehow. But
That's true.
yeah, but that's and you know what? I got this Defiant 7 in, which is just like a weird brand that kind of just appeared and then disappeared. It's a collaboration between Les George and Chad Nichols. So it's like a mid-tech in the real sense of mid-tech, although that word is now meaningless. But like true to Ken Onion's definition, it's hand ground and it feels like it was tuned by Les George because it's got a fantastic action. It's a cool knife. It's got beautiful hollow grinds that Les did. But I don't know. It's just kind of bizarre. And it has much worse blade to handle ratio than I thought just looking by the pictures. So I'm
It
not
looks
in
like
love
a
with
weird
it.
choice. It's a weird choice for you, I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm not in love with it. I do have it up for sale. I just wanted to check it out. I'm glad I got to. But
There are a bunch of actually Elijah's designs that are on my radar for this year, actually.
Yeah.
That I really want to pick up. Elijah, what you got going on now?
Oh man, there's so much. It's hard to keep track anymore. I mean, really.
I'm still trying to get the names straight on all 3 of the new models that are coming up. It's like Theta, Beta, Zeta.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of happened that way. I mean, that wasn't planned at all.
Really?
No, not at all.
That's awesome.
Because the Zeta with WE, they chose that design. I was like, all right. And then with Kizer, they chose the Theta.
well,
So I mean, it's kind of happened. But
So
yeah, it
do you,
wasn't planned.
when you do that, do you like, do they ever pick the same design and you're like, well, Wee's actually going to do that one. And then they got to be like, oh, well, then we'll take that one because if Wee's doing that, we got to do that one. Does that ever happen? Do they ever fight over your designs?
No one's ever really fought over them. But I got to keep track of, like what's going where. So nothing like overlaps.
Exactly. Yeah, I can imagine that could be kind of tricky.
It can with a lot of designs. It can be. Yeah.
it seems like one has already overlapped, but we could get into that later.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess to a degree. Yeah, you can say that.
You know what? Well, Jake, Did you get? Oh, you did get something interesting in, didn't you, Jake?
Yes, he did.
Yes. Well, my bladed acquisitions were a little light
Well,
this
not
time around.
You did get one.
Well, not quite. You made up for that with a certain purchase.
I don't have it yet, but I was inspired by the Fat Swordsman, as I think we all are every day of our lives. Well, so I got the Kizer's newest other budget line to compete with their Vanguard series, the Tangrim series. I got the Rumble, another unspoken VPON deal that we don't talk about, and it's actually lovely. And I can't find anything bad to say about it, aside from the pocket clip being on the wrong side, and I think that's why it ended up on VPON. And then I decided to buy a Surd.
That's Wilkeithian for sword.
Yeah. So we'll go into details about the Surd when it gets here. But I have a wakizashi short katana Damascus-y something or other coming from True Surds.
Only the finest China Damascus.
Only the finest.
We've lost Jake. He's bought a sword.
It's probably made from layers of China D2 just folded over each other. It's a 1,000-layer China D2 Damascus.
But it's like an armor core where there's an American D2 at the center of all the China D2 folds.
We got to link the video that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the video is hilarious.
All the videos on that website are hilarious on True Swords.
And then, but no, we had like 2 nice days, and my brain was like, oh my god, must get ready for spring. So I started getting my sharpening repertoire back up to snuff. I got a couple new stones, and a certain podcast sponsor came through with a huge package that I guess we can get into the details of later. But I'll also be testing out basically everything that Worksharp has to offer in the upcoming weeks.
Yes,
and then reporting back to you guys.
I guess I'm going to be sending you my my Hydra to resharpen.
Oh yeah, definitely take that thing
figured-
right to the Ken Onion Worksharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that'd be the first.
Yeah. My Lee Lerman Hydra is the perfect thing.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to try.
But we didn't say what we didn't ask one of the standard what did you carry today, and since we do have a guest we've never spoken to before, Elijah, what did you carry today?
I've been carrying my Tashi Phoenix for the last couple weeks since I got back from Vegas.
That's a nice looking knife.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yep, I'm happy with it.
Is that the one that they made a production version of with Fox knives?
Yeah, that's the same one. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
I actually bought this one off John Gray. Yeah.
Interesting.
Nice.
He's always wheeling and dealing somewhere.
Oh
At
yeah.
the core of every knife pocket, there's John Gray. He's just hiding there.
Yeah, I've witnessed it firsthand. Yeah.
Oh, that's very funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he had this, and I was like, oh, I gotta get that. I can't pass that up.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh wait, yeah, I knew that he had it because I was handling that same one when he purchased. I remember when he got it, and I was like, I want this.
Yeah, I think it's from the USN.
Yeah, he bought that in the lobby at the USN.
Really?
Yeah, I remember. He ran into Tashi there and just bought it right out of his pocket.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
It has a,
Yeah, I was on the phone with John yesterday, and he has something waiting for me at his shop as well. So yeah, you can't get away from the John Gray disease or whatever.
He's always lurking,
Yes.
which is kind of weird because he's kind of big. It's like you think you'd notice him, but
No, it's just that he's just so friendly and lovely that he's in everyone's hearts if he's not in their closet waiting and watching them sleep.
there's an image for you.
So what is the implication of that? Let's just move past that one.
We actually have an image for that when he.
Oh yeah, when he was
came over
hanging
for
outside
the
my
party.
window.
And he's standing there licking your window.
Wait, is he
was-
one of the
there-
raccoons?
Basically, the same image I sent of the raccoon, which I accidentally sent to Elijah first, so he must have been like, "Why am I getting a picture of a freaking raccoon?"
Hey, we get them here too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, either way, that's basically picture what that raccoon was doing, but John Gray's face in my window instead.
Yeah, that'll be frightening. Yeah.
Yes. Brian, you're being very quiet.
Son of a bitch, I couldn't get that button quick enough. I got nothing to that.
You've got a lot going on.
Yeah, Brian. You've got.
Why don't you tell us what's been going on in Brian Land?
Lots of aggravation, I tell you that.
It's always aggravation.
It's so hard to keep this stuff together. No matter what I do, it just turns out to be just a lot of extra work that it shouldn't really be. But
You sound like an old Jewish woman right now.
Seriously.
I do.
Yeah. It's okay. You could celebrate your victory here.
Oy gewalt.
Like a babushka.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. You guys.
Well, you have a production.
Yeah,
knife
I
coming
mean,
in.
Jesus Christ, Brian.
Can you at least talk about that?
Yes, I'm having someone make the micro typhoon for me.
Are you going to announce that here? What do we have to do to get that out of you? We've been keeping it a secret for months.
I just didn't want you to post that picture. So
Well, I
said,
didn't post the picture. I was waiting for you to make the announcement.
I know, but you could have. The point is, I said I wasn't announcing it, so you wouldn't post that picture.
Is that? I see. It's. You won't announce it, so I don't post the picture. Is that what this is all about?
It's already been said.
Oh, you dickhead!
Yeah, it's
Where
like
have you been?
he posted the picture. He just didn't want you to post the picture first.
No, he didn't post the picture.
No, not that.
Well, he posted a rendering.
No,
No.
Different picture.
Dave. I mean, Jake. We're talking about the picture that I did last night. The propaganda picture.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the rendering of the knife
So,
itself.
Elijah, just to clue you into this, you know the Obama Hope poster?
Yeah.
I did a rendering of Brian's face on the Obama Hope poster, but
Okay.
instead of hope, it just says China.
Oh,
What a jerk off.
It's funny. You've got to, I guess you had to be there.
Yeah.
He's come a long way.
He's come a long way. We're just proud of his
Hope and
acceptance.
change.
Yeah,
Well, you guys have been part of that, but the bigger part is just it didn't make sense. As
I know.
much as I didn't want to do it to get them American made, they'd be in the prices that my customs start. So I had to get into that lower bracket where
Well, the truth is, Brian, your prices for your customs were always incredibly reasonable. This is just now affording you the ability to expand a little more, become more artistic with the way you produce your customs, like the way you've been doing the daggers and hopefully what you're going to be doing with the chicane, and get your designs into the hands of more people at the same time. So it covers both bases. It really just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it was, that working a year at making the same knife.
Yeah,
over and
no,
over is
it
too
kills
much.
you.
It's killing me.
No, it's nuts.
But can we?
But it's been, it's been well accepted. I sold out most of what I need to get, and people have paid up, so it's looking good.
Yeah, I mean, when we told you that from the get-go, I knew you were going to be successful with it no matter what.
Yeah.
And I know you were shitting your pants up until the moment you posted that thing, but I think everything worked out really great. So we're happy for you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. For people that don't know, the Micro Typhoon is just going to be a smaller version of Typhoon, so it's 3-inch blade and M390.
And we can say who it's produced by?
$300.
Go
yeah.
for it.
And it's produced by Riot Knives.
Boom.
nice.
In everybody say it together. 3, 2, 1. China. China.
Oh, okay.
They're made in China.
Yes, but it looks awesome, Brian. I think it's going to be well received because small knives are what people want these days.
Yeah, I just didn't want to get stuck into making a couple hundred of them. So I think this was the perfect opportunity. We'll see.
Yeah.
Brian? Do you have any kind of gauge on how many people are going to go for the Damasteel option?
I went for the Damasteel.
So far, I got to do the math.
Just me.
here. It's like,
One.
No, it's probably like 20%.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
That's good. I mean, it's the cheapest Damasteel knife that they've ever done, so. Or just about the cheapest. Right around there. Like the Star,
Nope.
I think the Starboy was right about that price.
Yep.
Yeah, and the Mini Horizon D and Damasteel is the same price, but
That's a very the Mini Horizon's probably the biggest comparison I would say to this knife.
Yeah. I will say that it's sad that the new pocket clip is being implemented on the small knife and not on any of the other ones, but I'm very excited. The thing I'm most excited about is the deep carry version of your clip. It looks very cool.
Some people like it, some people don't.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like that style clip. I was going to change it. I said, well, if I'm not making it, fuck it. Let them make the 3D clip, you know? But it's still that part. I didn't want to change it because, you know, I wanted to keep going with the theme of the Typhoon.
Yeah.
And, you know, it is what it is.
That's pretty much how Elijah designs his knives, right? It's like, I'm not making it. I'm going to make this as crazy as I fucking can.
Yeah, that's definitely, you know, that's in the back of my mind on some stuff, especially on the Eschaton.
It
dude.
opens up you know, they have a lot more capabilities, so it opens up a whole new world of things that you can really do, and tolerances and shit you don't have to worry about. Let them
Let them figure it out.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them pull off the detent shoe or detent nub.
Elijah, have you ever experimented with producing your own knives, or have you just been have you only embraced the designer factor of everything?
Well, so far just designing, but I mean that may change somewhat soon. I mean, I'm trying to get a shop going, you know, to start making some customs.
That'd be cool. And how do you think what do you think you're gonna do? I assume you know, a CNC machine is not far out of your future.
Actually, no. I kind of wanted to do everything by hand.
By hand?
Yeah, like not even water jet.
Wow.
Yeah, as crazy as that is, but yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty insane to pull off some of your designs by hand, but hey.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna need a lot of training.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of learning.
Well, that's actually a good segue. Like, who are your influencers? Like, who have you learned from, and who are you continuing to learn from right now?
You mean design wise? Like
sure, it doesn't even have to be a knife maker, because I see you as an artist for art's sake for a lot of times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I appreciate your aesthetic and a lot of the things that you pull from. So I'm just curious as to what you like, what you enjoy, and what other makers and designers you either respect or feel are an influence to you.
Well, I would have to say my absolute favorite maker is Marsh, for sure.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's an easy win right there.
Yeah, you know, Rexford, because
sure.
of his, you know, engineering craziness.
Yeah,
I was just Tashi's one of my favorites.
I think Tashi's probably the most outward influence for you. I would guess, like especially in your earlier designs. I think. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean,
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good comparison. I'll tell you that. Mm-hmm. But definitely from a Rexford perspective, the incorporation of materials, blending them together, like with what you've done with the Eschaton, where you have that frame where the carbon fiber and the titanium sort of intertwine with each other. It's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Neat stuff.
Yeah, that was going to be like a multi-piece frame. It was going to be like 4 or 5 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But when we decided to do it, I had to kind of simplify it.
Mm.
Yeah, so I just made the whole back half one piece.
It would be I could see how that design would work in a multi-piece frame, because you could do a whole bunch of titanium and anodize it different colors, and then you end up with a bunch of layers. It would be really neat.
Layers,
yeah, like the Decepticon knives.
Yeah, but well designed.
Yes, but not ugly. Yes.
Well, a lot of people have, you know, drawn comparisons between those, but I mean, I appreciate Alexi's stuff, but
I do too.
I never really liked the layered, you know, like the stacked,
mm-hmm.
you know, aspect of it.
I mean,
it loses a lot of functionality when you do that, because then you just end up with a bunch of stuff on top of stuff for no reason.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, I've never handled an Eschaton. I really would like to, but everything looks like it's there for a reason.
Mm-hmm. You might be surprised of how ergonomic it really is. I mean, I was.
I mean, it took me a while to like warm up to the design, but when you start looking at it as an object of art instead of just like a knife, it really opens up the possibilities, especially for all of us in this hobby. Like, we don't need it to be, you know, the most, you know, practical knife in the world. We're appreciating knives of all types, and with the build quality, engineering, the artistry. So, and that's what made me really kind of fall in love with the design from that perspective.
Yeah, I never wanted it. It was never meant to be a practical EDC knife. It was just basically an art piece,
Right.
like an art knife. Like my take on an art knife.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And what are your influences when it comes to art, man? Do you have any like favorite artists?
Yeah, I mean Giger obviously is like high on that list.
Of course.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then are you guys familiar with Polish painter Zdzisław Beksiński?
I am. As a metal fan and guy who used to do metal album covers, I definitely am.
I'm guessing I'm familiar with his work, but not his name.
You are. Yeah.
They call him the Polish Giger because it's so similar. Yeah.
I will look that up.
You'll have to link his stuff. Is there a specific
sure.
that you're particularly fond of?
Yeah, I'll have to find it because a lot of his work is untitled.
Untitled.
Yeah, almost all of it is. But yeah.
Oh, I'm seeing this now.
there's
Yeah,
another guy.
it definitely looks like looks a lot like Giger stuff. Okay. Very cool.
There's a newer a guy that's not dead, like Giger and Beksiński are both, passed away.
Dead. Yes.
Brian Smith. Have you guys heard of him?
I don't
Brian
think I have. I'm looking
He
him
did-
up now.
He did a couple album covers for the band Horrendous.
We love Horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great band. Jake, you like Horrendous too.
That's crazy. We almost went to see them.
Yeah, well, we missed them
Oh, yeah?
entirely.
Yeah, they opened and we showed up late, but yeah, that's awesome.
And what's funny is a small world. Like my buddy at work, his best friend is the guitarist in Horrendous.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Small world.
Oh yeah, they're based out of Philly.
Yep.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, told you, a small world.
I'm guessing there's some metal influence in your designs because it seems like you've mentioned a bunch
Yeah,
of
for sure.
artists who are very popular in metal. So
Yeah, a lot of the older work, like the crazy stuff, is definitely like metal influenced.
yeah.
There was speaking of which, there was an album cover artist that always was a huge influence on me and a lot of the stuff that I do. His name is Kristian Wåhlin. He did a lot of stuff for Blaze My Sorrow and Sacrilege back in the day.
Oh, okay.
The original Swedish Sacrilege band. Really cool stuff. You should check it out. Very neat stuff. I think it's Christian with a K. It's been a while. But yeah, we will link all that stuff in the bio.
All right, cool.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
Whatever we
the
call
show
the
notes.
liner notes, the show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But very cool. That's always, even on the show when we're talking about and a lot of your designs come up, the word metal gets used very frequently. So, it's very close to our hearts.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, mine as well. Yeah.
Why don't we back up some more? So I'm curious about what is your origin like? Because I remember seeing your posts on Instagram. I think like maybe 2 or 3 years ago when they were all just 2D drawings of knives and just kind of came out of nowhere with this ton of drawings. So like
Well, yeah,
where did you start from?
Nowhere really. I mean, I'm pretty young. I'm only 23. So.
Oh, okay.
He's a baby.
Yeah. So I mean, this is really my career. So I've been doing it now for 6 years, and I just stuck with it. As you keep designing stuff, and it's almost like an addiction for me. I can't stop. I'll come up with an idea or something, or I'll think of like a shape or whatnot, and then I'll just get in there and get on the CAD program and just not stop until I'm done.
So
and then move on to the next one.
Do you have some kind of art background or?
No, not really. I mean, I just always appreciated art, and
All right.
always drew.
He's not old enough to have an art background yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
I mean, it's just
outside of high school. Yeah.
He has an art background. It's starting to bud right now.
yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, like drawing. I mean, if
Sure.
you're always in visual art, interested in visual arts or something, it's just so surprising, like the complexity of the designs and stuff, and the sheer artistry in some of them.
He like in school he draws like explosions and stuff on his Trapper Keeper
Yeah, there you go.
to this day. If you go look at like his old notebooks, it's just a bunch of crazy blades and explosions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just amazed because it's really. I mean, to just.
I'm
kinda
filling
do
in the
that on your
blanks
own.
for you, Elijah. I hope this is
There you
helping.
go, yeah.
Yeah. So, well,
Interpretation.
this may help fill in some of the blanks. We're talking about art as kind of an abstraction. So what made it blades and not anything else? I mean, you could have been drawing really
could have been
anything.
Pokemon. You could have been drawing Pokemon.
You could have been drawing anything. So were you into like a knife collector or dabbler growing up as a kid?
Yeah, I've always been a collector. I mean, I've been going to knife shows, local shows with my dad since I was like 6.
Oh, okay. Well, that
The
explains
plot
it.
thickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were supposed to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
We haven't even actually asked him about knives, just like what he doodles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've been collecting, small, Swiss Army case knives since I was really little.
Knowing what you design, it's very hard for me to picture you even holding like a case knife. It's pretty amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, my appreciation for, like any knife, is there. But, yeah, I mean, I started designing bushcraft knives. When,
So you designing a sword is not far off base.
I did design one sword.
We definitely need to see the sword.
This was like 4 years ago, and I'd have to find it. I made a template with it and everything,
Maybe when you get your shop going, the first thing you should do, just as like a Halo piece,
is make a sword. Yeah,
is make a sword. I think it would be badass.
Yeah, I need to design one in CAD.
Absolutely.
So then, when as this was blossoming, was this? Are you more of an urban or rural dweller? Like, were you collecting knives sheerly the way we use our knives to open packages of other knives, or a lot of these makers have origin stories that they
were born in a cave and they cut themselves out of the cave.
They were one of the original Oregon Trail dysentery recipients, and so what? Were you growing up on a farm in a city, and how did that play into your current career?
Yeah. Well, kind of suburb, like in between. Not necessarily country, but like far enough from the city that there's basically just farms everywhere.
So
where do you live, by the way?
Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I have family in Dayton. Cool.
Yeah, it's an okay place. It's not. Maybe the maybe a reason for my crazy, designs might spring from living so close to Wright Pat and Wright Pat Air Force Base.
Oh yeah,
where the alleged Hangar 18 exists.
Oh,
so.
Cue Megadeth now.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
That's also show notes for Dave when he starts going to the editing. It's like the only time we can actually all agree that that's a pretty good Megadeth song, and Dave Mustaine is not annoying.
I do not agree with that. Dave Mustaine is always annoying.
It's true, he is.
There are no good Megadeth songs.
I haven't listened to them in so long.
Yeah, that's crazy. So early on, I'm actually on your Instagram now, and I'm looking back, and you can see the evolution, but I forgot about this. So the Megatherian was first made by Alex Dietz as the Acacia.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that? Because Alex Dietz, I think, is still a wanted fugitive in multiple states.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from him in years.
No one has.
Yeah, pretty much since then. But yeah, I'd posted that design. I got it done, and then I get this. I think it was a text or an email from Alex. He's like, "Hey man, do you want to collab on that?" And I was like, "Sure," because I kind of knew who he was at the time. And so we worked out like a little deal, and he made like I think 2 of them, and just kind of dropped off the face of the earth. And I never got any money or
really
a knife out of the whole.
Did you ever get to handle the knife to begin with, or no?
No, the very first time I actually held it was when Kizer had sent me the proto.
Wow.
Damn.
That was actually my first design that I've ever handled of yours.
I mean, it makes sense. It was the first one that was available.
It was, yeah. Well, I'm just saying it was recent, okay? Either way, it when you see something in person, you're like, I don't know if that's for me. It's not like, I like it. I appreciate design, but I didn't know if it was something that I would ever want to carry or anything. When I bought the knife and I got it, I was pleasantly surprised about how ergonomic the knife was, how great the blade felt and worked. So that was my first introduction to your designs as well.
Yeah, ergonomics is usually like, you know, number one on my priorities for any design. It's always,
Yeah,
it's very cool, and it makes me want to try a lot more. That the Zeta, isn't that the WE Knives produced one, the newest release?
Yeah, the Persian.
That's definitely something. I mean, that thing is gorgeous.
Yeah, a little fun fact on the Megatherium. When Dietz wanted to do it, he said, "Hey, I like the knife, but I don't really like the name. Can you change it? Because all my models are named after trees."
Oh.
Yep.
All right, okay. Well, let me think here. And then the only thing I could think of was acacia from the acacia strain.
Oh.
So I just went with that.
Yeah, the Acacia Strain has one of my favorite lyrics in music ever. When you're dead, you're done. You're dead, you died.
Yeah, there you go.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's off Jonestown, off of their album Wormwood. I thought there might have been a metal reference in there, but yeah, for our listeners who are not familiar, because Alex Dietz is kind of a dated reference now. Alex Dietz was this super promising. He started off pimping knives and then started making knives, and he was like really talented, and then he just disappeared.
He was on track.
He really
was on
was.
track.
Yeah.
And then he just disappeared. Completely disappeared with tons of people's money and knives, and just no one has ever found him, except for he is still one of my suggested friends on Facebook. I was suggested him today.
You should go ahead and friend request him right now.
No, his Facebook hasn't been updated in like 5 years. It's the same picture. I remember.
Well, friend request him anyway. See if he accepts it.
Look, he doesn't. I mean, I'm not gonna. What am I gonna friend request Alex Dietz for?
I'm gonna friend request him right now.
I almost got scammed by him, but amazingly, I got the knife. It was remarkable. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely dead and gone. But yeah, that's an interesting story.
What was that lyric that you just said for the Acacia Strain?
When you're dead, you're done. You're dead, you died.
Hashtag Alex Dietz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting start to your career. So did that deter you at all, or?
Yeah.
No, the very first person to make one of my knives was actually Ben Chacon.
Oh, that name sounds familiar. Is that the Toxic Blades kid?
Yeah.
Wow, that's two young makers working together there, or two.
Yeah, I had no idea how young he was until.
Yeah, he was like 12 or something crazy back when I
think he was like 13.
Oh my god.
I think he was like 13.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. Which is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was only a minor setback, the Dietz thing, but it is an interesting piece of history. But yeah, then the Kizer one happened. So was it an easy process? Did they just like nail it on the first prototype? Because it's a pretty interesting design, and it was their first use of a bolster. It was a bolster lock, which is pretty new for them.
Yeah, I looked at all their stuff, and it was all tie frame lock, gray, pretty bland. So I was like, well, let's make a bolster lock because I love bolster locks.
Mm-hmm. Well, mine was the blackwashed version, so it was a frame lock.
Which is
the next version is going to be a full tie frame lock and just plain tie.
Yeah, that's much.
I saw that there was one. Yeah, that's going to look nice.
Then it's going to look much nicer. The blackwash, I thought the bolster lock.
I think that was my only thing that I didn't like about that knife was the finish.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
it was supposed to be bronze anodized.
Oh,
but
that would have been nice.
For some reason they couldn't do it.
Isn't bronze one of the easiest colors to achieve too? It's like a low voltage.
Yeah. Well, if they're just anodized, you mean the actual titanium was going to be bronze anodized, or were they going to put like a bronze coating on the whole thing?
No, the entire frame was going to be bronze anodized.
Bronze anodized. Okay, that should have been pretty easy to do.
There was some problem with like color consistency or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. I guess if you're making that many pieces, you want them to all be the same color. Yeah,
so they're just like, we'll just do a blackwash.
It's probably the half titanium, half tin blend.
Oh, jeez. So, I mean, I don't know how much you can expand on it, but how was working with Kizer? Because I've heard varying things from some people saying it was awesome. I think Ray Laconico and Mike Vagnino said it was great. And then Justin Lundquist, they kind of screwed him when they did the floating stop pin on the Feist. And, it was not at all what he specified.
I talk to Justin all the time. I mean, it's been pretty good overall.
Okay. That's good to hear.
I don't really have any complaints. I mean, there's been, a little minor hiccups with stuff, but
I mean, because you got the Theta coming, and that, first off, how you managed,
that looks great.
Yeah, how you managed to get Kizer to do the non-decorative pivot that gives the autistic screeching that comes about from that pivot is incredible. Like, people hate the Kizer pivot.
Here's a funny story about that. So the prototypes were being done, and they're filling me in on a time frame and everything. And like, all right, well, hey, they're done. So they send them to me. Okay, I'm opening the package, and then it's just there. It's a non-decorative pivot, and I didn't even ask for one. Where I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna make one. It's non-decorative. That's cool, because people have been asking for these.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I actually didn't ask for that. But
Wow.
That's a lucky coincidence.
Thank
yeah,
goodness, because it really is starting to become an eyesore to me.
yeah, I'm not really a big fan.
It's
of
not. It didn't bother me at first, but it's just like now it just sort of looks kind of cheap.
It. Yeah.
So I'm glad that they had the foresight to do that for your design, because it really does the lines of the knife justice to not
Yeah, it
have
really
like
works.
crazy weird stuff on the pivot.
Yeah, the size of it really works too. It's really good.
So with the Theta, I mean, it's pretty common to all your designs, but in terms of your flipper design, what sort of made you come to that? Because it's kind of one of your signatures at this point, I think, is the flipper
Yeah.
being like parallel to the pivot in a sense instead of
Yeah, I
perpendicular.
don't think of it that way. Yeah, but a lot of people say, "Oh, it's parallel," but I just hate exposed, humongous flipper tabs that are, ginormous and they're just like sticking out, which is kind of weird. How Marsh is my favorite maker, and
He's got some.
his are like some of the biggest there are.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, his just kind of work though. With
From the
line
design
design.
standpoint,
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, I mean, it gets in the way when you're trying to cut stuff on a flat surface.
Mhm.
And yeah, just aesthetically, it looks better, I think.
Yeah, and you get more leverage, right? Because it's way ahead of the pivot.
Yeah, so the angle there, the farther in front of the pivot
Yeah.
that the flipper tab is, the more leverage, the more
Does it require?
torque that you're gonna
Does it
get.
require them to do anything special with the detent though? Did you have to figure that out with Kizer? Because it seems because you have a smaller purchase area and it's kind of angled differently. Did they have to make it like a slightly weaker detent than they might on a
Well,
traditional flipper?
On the Theta, yeah, it's pretty small, so you got to get that detent like just right.
Yeah. That
Yeah, it has to. It could actually be a little lighter because of how far forward it is, so you can get more torque.
Mhm.
So it doesn't need like a hard detent. So yeah.
cool. But one thing also that flipper design, which is pretty common on yours, also forces you to kind of do a specific handle to like hide it.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Is that something you want to?
Especially on the Eschaton.
Yeah, is that something you want to eventually get away from? Because it does kind of force you to
Yeah.
have that same sort of handle design up at the
Aesthetic.
front. Yeah, kind of forces that aesthetic.
Yeah, like with the Zeta and the Theta, and most of the simple series designs, I'm kind of getting away from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of my older stuff, yeah, it was really restrictive because you got to have that like that extreme angle
Mhm.
right there at the bolster, at the top of the bolster, to
It does.
so the edge isn't like sticking.
It does kind of make like a choil though, or a pseudo choil, or somewhere
Yeah,
choke
that's
up
yeah,
a
that's
little
what
bit.
I call it. Cool. Yeah, that's my name for it, the pseudo choil, because it's not really
Yeah.
the choil. It just ends, but
Yeah.
you can use it. Yeah.
Tell us more about that simple series that you're working on, because I remember browsing through and seeing those images.
Yeah, that's what I've been working on since I got back from Blade Show 2016. That's pretty much all I've been working on.
And what are you going to be doing? What are your plans for those long term?
Well, most of those will probably be on my own brand eventually someday.
Got it.
Your own brand? Are you like as in customs, or are you gonna have productions made with just
Yeah.
your name, like from an OEM?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
Yeah, both OEM, limited run productions, and then full custom.
Okay. I mean, because WE is already doing a fantastic job, but they do have the WE branding on them. It's not just an Elijah Isham sort of product.
Yeah.
And is that's something you want to move towards? Is it just being sort of Isham Bladeworks Isham Bladeworks and not WE knives?
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I love doing the collabs, for sure.
True.
Yeah,
What's
cool.
interesting is that we're in a unique situation that we have two people that have cooperated with three of the larger overseas manufacturers. Brian's working with Riot, and you've worked with Kizer and WE. And as far as we know, you may have stuff going with Riot as well. But I'm curious to hear your take on what the difference is in doing business with them, if there's any.
Well, between Kizer and WE, they do things differently, but it's been pretty great. I mean, working with WE especially is like, it's awesome. I mean, Joe is like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. You know, they make everything super easy for you. You have full artistic license on anything, you know. But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, and then I'm doing the Nostrum with Millet, and
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Can you tell us about that
hoping
one?
We're hoping to have a prototype for Blade Show.
Because I don't think I've heard of that one. So
I heard
That
I remember when you announced it, but I can't picture it
yeah,
right now.
can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, it's from the Simple series. It's like a Giotto inspired, basically a folding kitchen knife kind of thing.
All right.
But it's definitely one of my more straightforward designs.
All right, I'm gonna have to find a picture of this. Well, yeah, wasn't the Megatheria was sort of sold as a folding Santoku? At least that's what Kizer put in their marketing. Oh, I'm seeing it now. Okay, this is very nice.
That was on the Megatherium. That was exactly the first knife that I did with a hidden flipper. Yeah, that's actually what started the whole hidden flipper thing, because I wanted to do a folding Santoku, and I didn't want to have a flipper tab, you know, sticking out in the way, so I had to figure out a way to get it above the edge. And then that's how that happened.
Nice. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at the Nostrum now. It's gonna be very nice. It's also probably gonna be Millet's first integral, from what I understand.
Yep, I'm hoping they can pull it off.
I'm personally, I'm excited about the Black Star.
That will be my first Soul branded knife.
That thing is it a front flipper? Is that what I see?
Yeah, it's a front flipper, but it doesn't lock, so it's like a detent lock. So it's like Surge's bean knives.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's just a detent that falls into another detent hole, and then you just overcome to close it, and it's like a detent slip joint. Basically.
Gotcha.
That makes sense, because I mean, sort of modern slip joints is where people are at. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It looks fantastic. Is that one? So that one's going to be by you and not by one of these companies?
Yeah, that's just going to be mine. I'm going to do a run of 100 of those.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that looks fantastic. I think that's really smart, because that is, especially like that lion steel we were talking about earlier, people are going nuts for those, because people want like modern materials in a production sort of slip joint. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good place to be for 2018.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've designed a few of those slip joints.
That's how Strider did that.
The PT,
the non-locking PT,
where it still had the lock bar cut out.
Well, yeah, and it simply used the second detent ball as the quote unquote.
Yeah, it was just a regular PT that they didn't bend the lock bar in on.
Yeah, well, and they drilled a second hole in the blade.
Oh wow!
And made a.
Tell us how you really feel, Dave.
It's a unique way of doing a slip joint without the typical half stop, walk and talk, and the constant.
I'd say the pull is about a 6 on this one.
All right. Yep. So Jake, remember last episode someone asked what your guilty pleasure was? Clearly, it's Striders. You're a Strider fanboy.
What did I say every time I was like Striders?
I've never said that I don't like Striders.
All right.
You guys may have
it is your guilty pleasure, though. It is. That and cheap surds.
We'll see. Maybe I'll fall in love with this surd and have to gain some weight and switch my whole MO to YouTube.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, cutting bottles.
So Elijah, here's something. Did you invent the half integral or the half integral design that for the Eschaton? I'm trying to think if someone else did that.
That's a funny story.
Did you?
Yeah. When I first posted the picture of the Eschaton, Sinkovich actually he hopped on there. Was like, hey, wait a minute. He's like, I think I did that first.
Oh, of course. If anyone would have done it first, it would be Sinkovich. So that's fair. Yeah. I mean,
it's on the ZT 427. I think it is.
Did that ever come out? I honestly don't remember
if that came. Which one's the 427?
The hideous one?
No, it's not out yet, actually.
It's never coming out. Oh, shit. Yeah, that thing is like vaporware at this point. That thing's never coming out.
That thing's never coming out.
For some reason, people... That thing got a lot of hate. Like, people didn't like it for some reason.
Well, it's not the most attractive design. It's not very good looking.
It is probably the worst design that Sinkovich has... I mean... And I love Sinkovich, but also being compared, coming to the same sort of thing that Sinkovich has done is a pretty good place to be, because he's also another person who comes up with these super crazy artistic designs that require a lot of machining prowess. So
unattainable designs.
Yeah.
So what do you do in that situation, Eliza, when Dmitry Sinkovich comes to you and says, "I make that first, you no make"?
I'm trying to find the comment right now. Yeah, I've met him a couple times.
Does he sound like that? He probably sounds like that.
No, that's Michael Zeba.
Yeah, he kind of.
No, no, that's true. No, I can't do my Michael Zeba impression right now because that'd be bad.
Yeah, he talks. Yeah, he talks. Very Belarusian, but
Yes.
he can speak English pretty good.
Yeah, no. I thought I spoke English well, but I was just doing my Belarus accent.
Yeah, he said that he did it first on the Techno Bamboo and the Do Flipper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Do I think is
Oh,
what the
yeah.
427 is based off of, but the Techno Bamboo thing. I mean, good luck getting one of those for like less than I don't know, 8,000 or something. Those things are incredible.
The reason I did it is because I could have the bolsters be carbon fiber.
I mean, it is really cool. Ham Cheese Designs also has used it in one of the Tucson knives recently. So
Well, that doesn't surprise me. That guy invents
cheese.
everything that's already been invented,
it's-
like every other day. That's our nickname for a Chinese designer who goes by the name of Night Morning Designs. He's
Oh, okay.
basically the Chinese Elijah Isham.
except for he's pumping out like 12 new knives a day somehow, and they're like he just wills them into existence from his mind because they somehow get made like a day after they're posted on Instagram.
Yeah, they have some pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
It's Tucson.
It's pretty insane, but he also has a knife that he designed that uses this sort of half-degree construction. I wonder if people are going to be doing that more now. I mean, it seems
You
pretty
should send
difficult.
him a message, but send him a message like a voice message and do your impression of Dmitry Sinkovich when you do it.
Yeah.
So just get the it's like a domino effect.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny to me. Sorry.
Sorry to all our Belarusian listeners.
I love Belarus.
He's a nice guy, though.
Yeah.
He's
really
sure he's a nice guy. I love Belarus.
I mean, Sinkovich's stuff is incredible, but it's just like so unattainable. I see one of your renderings right now in true Russian fashion. Some of these bearings setups look pretty interesting. Is that something that you?
Which one?
Let's see. Oh, maybe this is a relatively conventional single row bearing. All right, they look different from the renderings, but I know that's people love when people put more bearings in a knife. So
or just make
On
them
my-
weird shapes.
Yeah. On my designs, doing like a multi-row bearing system would be really difficult because I cram the internals, like they're so tight together.
yeah.
There's like no room to do anything.
All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not really a problem since multi-row bearings are kind of a novelty, more so than
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessary, really.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of materials, it doesn't seem like you choose too many crazy materials. Is that something? How do you approach materials with your designs?
It seems a lot of collectors, especially, that they like, they gravitate towards materials first. They're like, oh, it's Timascus and Westinghouse and Zerk. But I'm not really too big on materials, really. I mean, I'm more, about the design.
Yeah, I mean, and when you have a stunning design, it kind of speaks for itself. You don't need to throw Mokutai on it.
Yeah, but I love Mokutai. I mean, it's great.
Sure.
And Zergatai, especially.
But you shouldn't need to gild the lily. That's really that's the expression I mean, that is the expression, but I know that a lot of great designers don't need to put a lot of crap on their knives or make their knives out of a whole bunch of stuff to have the knife actually speak for itself is really an important part.
Yeah, I think Tashi does that probably the best.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't.
With his like plain titanium.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is very good at flogging the dolphin or whatever it was that he said.
Well, before he made such a rude comment, I was going to say, and the other person here who does that very well is Brian. So he doesn't use a lot of
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
and Marcin Schleich, if I'm pronouncing that right.
sleesh.
Schleich is great.
Sleesh or Sleesh.
Yes, you, Brian Nadeau, Sleesh.
I mean,
Those are good designers.
and it, for poor people like me, it kind of saves a little bit of money because awesome design doesn't add, hundreds of dollars like adding a single piece of Mokutai does, so or Zerkatai or whatever adds so much to the bottom end of the knife that like it's, I appreciate that your production knives so far have just been titanium and carbon fiber. It looks fantastic.
Well, you really can't,
Yeah.
do a production
Oh,
of Mokutai.
so- absolutely. But I mean, even the customs with Jeff at Tough Knives were pretty subdued.
Yeah, I had the parts water jet at Millet and then I sent them to Jeff.
Oh,
And then I think he has 2 or 3 more of those.
the Black Knight,
The Black Knight. Yeah.
which
Yeah, the Black Knight satellite.
yeah, that's all. That's also a pretty great reference. I had to look on Wikipedia at
Very,
it.
very metal. It's also very metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I met Jeff at Blade Show a couple years ago, he was like, "This one looks like a Black Knight satellite." I was like, "You think so?" Like, I'll design one that.
Well, it's probably
actually
parked at
does.
Hangar 18. You should go check it out.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
You see some weird stuff around here sometimes.
I'll bet.
To get back to the half integral thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the sub integral thing. This year for Blade Show, me and We Knives have 2 new models coming out that are what I call vertebral integrals.
Ooh.
That sounds-
We're making up words. I'm into this.
Yeah, I gotta make something up because it's different, you know. So I gotta come up with some kind of name. But yeah, the construction on those will be something that's I don't think been done before.
All right.
I mean, it might be a first.
That's. I mean,
I'm just guessing very spinal, like interlocking, perhaps.
No, nothing interlocking, but the only part of the knife that's actually an integral is the top spine of the handle. So
interesting.
so the bottom half. There's some pictures, some teaser pictures on my Instagram.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that.
Oh, okay. I see that now. I did not really get what was happening there. Now that makes a lot more sense.
They're also on the smaller side. One's 3.25, and then the other one's 3 inches.
Okay, that'll be great because let me just say, We Knives has done a fucking terrible job of making small knives. Like,
Yeah, I told Joe. I was like, hey, because he asked me at SHOT Show. He said, hey, what should we do? Like, you know, the American market, you know, better than us. And I said, you guys really need to be making some small knives.
and small knives that aren't like, so the small knives they have done have been really not the most, not the best designs. Is how I would describe.
Yeah, what was
them.
the one, the really thin one? But that was still pretty big.
Yeah, they only have like 2 knives that are small, like the 605, and then one of the most recent ones, the Valiant, and then everything has been pretty massive. And then they had that Simon Crafts one that was also pretty small. But like, it'll be cool to see a small knife from We. That'd be impressive.
One of the new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 3-inch non-flipper.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got
that's
a
cool.
floating thumb stud on it. It's got a blade cutout, but it's got a thumb stud on it.
Have you put any consideration into trying to get a price point like William Booz was able to get with We, around $200? Because those Smoke TS1s that he had made
flew out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. That $200 price point seems like an incredible place to be. I mean, you can't do anything too crazy, but it was still full titanium.
The Black Star, I'm hoping to have it out about $150.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wow.
Damn, that's gonna be good.
And it's gonna have M390 too.
Oh,
Wow.
snap. That's gonna must have.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think that's really what people need right now. Is
You know what I think?
Yeah.
The Eschaton is actually smaller than you might think.
It's way smaller than you might think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like in the pictures it looks massive, but when you see people handle it, it's very reasonably sized. My basic, like, the reason I haven't bought one yet is because I can't decide which variation to get.
Yeah.
Like, so if I had to have one, which one should it be?
I don't know. I mean, the carbon fiber one is like super lightweight. It only weighs 3 ounces.
yeah, that's pretty insane.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That even makes my cut.
Yeah, that's incredibly light.
The full tie is about almost an ounce heavier.
I mean, even 4 ounces is still pretty reasonable
ounces
for a
is pretty
4-inch
damn light.
blade.
And full tie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna have to plug in my laptop.
Oh, Dave, you should put intermission music here.
Or we could plug our sponsor, Tackle Outdoors.
Oh yeah, this is a great time to mention Tackle Outdoors. Enter coupon code Knife Nuts to receive 10% off your next purchase and free shipping.
And Tackle Outdoors sells Kizer and We knives, 2 companies we have been mentioning extensively here. I don't know if they sell Elijah's designs, but they have those brands. So,
And if you're a fan of Knife Nuts, why not get yourself a Knife Nuts mug or T-shirt?
help us sell out.
Help us sell out. We need money. We really do. We really appreciate it.
So now the Benchmade Axis Lock patent has expired, and now everyone else can jump onto the Axis Lock bandwagon. Legitimately jump onto it. Ganzo has been doing it for years. And then there was also the sheer gore of Toboggan or whatever, which was an axis lock knife, but that was licensed.
Mantis Toboggan.
Yes, the Mantis Toboggan MD knife, which is it's not my favorite Shirogorov knife. But anyway, so now everyone is going to be jumping on it. So Mastrop has a millet knife designed by TJ Schwarz that uses the axis
Yeah, I
lock.
actually handled one of those.
Yeah, and then
You handled.
how is it?
It's pretty awesome. I mean, it's pretty smooth. It's not technically an axis lock because you can't use that name.
Yeah.
That's still copyrighted.
The name. So the name is what, trademarked, but the patent on
Yeah,
the
yeah, I think
design
so,
has expired. So it's a pivot bolt moving lock.
Traxxas lock.
Yeah, I've experimented with designing one, but it's kind of hard.
That's what.
for
Oh
me.
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask. How you felt about other
Because-
locks, because I know it requires a lot of
Yeah.
sort of constraints on your design when you do the axis lock.
It does kind of. It requires a lot of space.
Yeah.
But and it really dictates like whether or not you can use certain blade shapes and whatnot. But
And stop pin location.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Can I give you a suggestion? Don't do it.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
If I did do it, I would add a detent bar.
Yes, please. Why has no one
Ooh.
done that?
Actually had a
Yeah.
detent bar.
I think I've talked about this before. It is so frustrating that they don't just do what Emerson has sort of done with the double D10, or what Matt Diskin did, or what Alan Olishowitz did with Hogue.
Emerson is known for unparalleled quality.
Exactly,
so-
but at least the idea was there. But they just need to add a spring bar with a ball detent so that you can have an axis lock with an actual detent. Like, I don't understand what is so difficult about that. So maybe, Elijah, you should do that, because someone needs to start that revolution so that we don't all have
Yeah,
gravity knives.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I mean, all you got to do is add a spring bar with a detent in the show scale, and then with a detent hole.
I have a feeling it has to do with manufacturing, because when you're
Yeah.
putting together like an axis lock, it's just like, what else are you going to put on there?
Yeah.
I don't-
My request would be to replace the Omega Springs with something else, as we all know.
Well, here's the thing.
I think every one of us has our own complaint about the axis lock or the locks that will come down in the future that aren't called axis. But
My question is, and no one here is a patent attorney, so this is probably pointless, but the coil spring axis lock that they're doing on the Anthem, I wonder if they have a patent on that, or if people can do that as well.
I think that's a better system because with the
Definitely.
Omega springs, the whole thing is riding on those springs.
Mhm.
So if those fail, the whole knife is.
Yeah.
and they
It's-
do.
What's
They
really
they do fail.
they fail crazily, but what's funny is that Benchmade could have shown more knives with the without that Omega spring. What do you call it? What's the one they use now on the Anthem?
Coil is a coil spring.
The coil spring, yeah. But they didn't. They just showed the same crap.
Well, it requires a full backspacer, I think, to fit that coil spring
Yeah.
in there.
so
So that's I mean,
make one out of plastic. They do
Oh.
it. They do everything else.
yeah, true. But then you also need to mount it from the top, and then again with the autistic screeching, with the screws coming in from the spine of the knife, and people freaked out when they did that on the Anthem, which is absurd. But
I don't know. People have nothing to say but nice things about the Anthem, and truthfully,
true.
like
But the nitpicking,
it's the nicest. Yeah, people pick nit all the time.
very true. But yeah,
Speaking of Benchmade, yeah. At SHOT Show, I was with Jared Drinkwater, the guy that did the long block.
His last name is Drinkwater.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. But we went to the Benchmade booth and we're looking at their stuff. And when that guy handed me that one with that screw on that mother of pearl, I was like, "Oh my!"
did you listen to our last episode?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I heard that.
Oh,
yeah.
God, that's so
I felt the
perfect.
same. I was like, "Whoa!" Yeah, it's just why is it there?
Yeah, maybe don't have Benchmade make any of your knives, Elijah. Preserve your reputation.
Well, here's the thing. They if you're gonna do collabs with them, they require an exclusive license. So you can't do
sure.
anything with anybody.
Oh, they
else.
want you
Yeah.
to be like a contract player or franchise player.
Oh yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it might make you enough money that you don't need to work with anybody else. Truthfully,
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I doubt it.
Benchmade's got like the biggest presence. Have you ever seen how big the company is? Like employee wise, it's way
well,
bigger than some of the other companies.
They sell a lot of stuff at Cabela's.
Exactly, and that's where you make the money.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta say my very first really nice knife was the
Reptilian.
Ocelot.
Oh, Onslaught. Ooh.
That's how we should have known you were going to come up with some interesting designs. Most people would have been like a mini grip, and with you, it's a Bob
Mine
Rum.
was a mini grip. That's why I'm
Same
boring.
here. Mine was a
mini grip from Cabela's.
Yeah, I love
It was
Bob
from
Rum.
Cabela's.
my first.
Yeah, anything Bob Rum is awesome.
Yeah, my first $100+ knife was a Doug Ritter mini grip. So,
Oh, aren't you fancy?
it felt like a shit at the time, and then I only came to realize it was shit afterwards. But yeah, you know what, Elijah? Has anyone reached out to you wanting to work with a production company, or do you go to them? How does that sort of relationship work?
I went to Kizer, but we approached me.
Okay, that's cool. So you're getting your brand out there.
Yeah, and I've been approached by a few other companies that I can't quite mention yet.
I'm pretty sure one was CRKT, and just say no, Elijah. Just say no.
I have not been approached by them yet.
I am
Strange.
so excited for the CRKT version of the Eschaton.
Oh my
it's gonna
God.
be
Oh my God.
It's gonna be like the Chris Reeve Sebenza collaboration they did that was never released because it had the Zytel handles. Like it had a Zytel lock bar.
Oh my god.
Yes. Oh my God.
Nick Shabazz calls the Eschaton the anti-Sebenza.
I mean,
It is the anti-Sebenza.
it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, what are your feelings on the Sebenza? I'm curious about Chris Reeve knives, which, since I'm a fanboy.
I like it.
Be careful, Elijah, because Dave's very sensitive.
By the way, I spoke with Tim.
Oh
Reeve,
God, no!
at TKI.
Be
so,
still my beating heart. That would be insane.
Yeah, we had a good long.
I know Tim has radical ideas for the business, but that's pretty radical making one of your knives. That would be interesting. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know how that would look.
that would be.
They would just un-Isham your design.
It would literally kill Chris. Like that would actually be the nail in his
probably.
coffin.
That would be the thing. That would be the nail in the proverbial and maybe literal coffin.
He might choke you out at Blade Show like Jay Davis. That's a. Oh,
Yeah,
we know that this is going to be playing in the Chris Reeve shop later.
Yeah, there
so.
you go.
yeah, shout out to
definitely.
them. They're the best.
They actually do are
Yeah,
one
hey,
of the
guys.
listeners of this. We love you.
Yeah.
Can't wait to
Oh,
see
yeah,
you again.
I lusted after a Sebenza, when I was first getting into, higher end stuff.
I mean, not a bad.
It's a natural progression, I think. I still am waiting. I had a small Sebenza and I liked it a lot, but I didn't fall in love with it. And I'm still waiting for the right Sebenza to show up and be like, "You're Levon Sebenza.
I will show you
Come to Levon."
on Friday. You'll see the Desert Iron one I have, and
Oh, is that the one that's gonna
Yes.
to get
Yes.
me? You think?
Oh, yes, it's beautiful. Did you design that? Yeah. You did design the Fanatic Edge Omen. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah.
It's pretty similar to the Black Knight on first glance, but maybe that's just me sort of subsuming your designs together.
Yeah, it's a little different geometry. But I met Andrew at Blade Show last year, and he was like, "Hey, man, we need to do something eventually." So I was like, "Okay." So I think it was July last year. He was like, "All right, we need to do a design." So he gave me a bunch of parameters of what he wanted, and direction of what to take it in, and that's what I came up with.
It's nice. How is it doing? It seems like the reception's been pretty good.
Yeah, they're selling pretty well.
So they're for sale now?
Yeah, they're at pre-order on his site.
Okay, cool. So that's Fanatic Edge, everyone. You know what?
I've had it in my cart 4 times, and I've been able to abstain, but it's not going to last for very long. I'm just going to buy one.
You know
Yeah, they're pretty
what I really love about your story and all this is that now that there's these OEM companies that have made it possible for people who design knives to actually get their designs out there. Because I was just on Fanatic Edge's Instagram, and I can see a bunch of different knives that have been OEM'd by WE, and these people, possibly even yourself, would probably. I mean, if you try to get a collaboration with CRKT, you're just some random Joe off the street and sends them a design via email, they're just gonna laugh at you. But now you can actually get this stuff done with some of these OEM companies. It's just very cool that it is enabling this whole new sort of group of people.
Yeah, definitely.
Renaissance. Yeah.
Now you can just design
That's
knives.
that's not my end goal. The whole end goal was to get a custom shop going and start making high end customs. But it's cool that I'm able to do this now, so that I can make as few customs as possible.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes
So
sense.
only work on maybe show knives.
Yeah, isn't that what the guy, the VDK knives, Vlad, he was the first guy that worked with WE, importing their knives.
Yeah, he's
now he makes custom versions of his production knives.
Yeah, he's starting to get going, making knives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a shop going.
Similar concept.
So, tell me, so what does your custom shop of your dreams look like? You know, what you said you want to do a lot of manual work. So, you know, what kind of tools, what kind of machinery, and what? How do you see it?
Well, probably like a 10 by 12, pretty small, you know, and just like the necessary equipment. Like I have I just bought last year a 1946 Bridgeport.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's a picture of it on my.
Yeah, I
Instagram.
saw that. That's an old piece of machinery.
Yeah, I need to. Oh yeah.
10,000
I
pounder.
need to. Yeah, no, I think they weigh about 3,000.
Yeah.
I think right around 3,000 pounds. It was a challenge going and getting it for sure.
God.
Yeah, I need to get a TW90 grinder. That's on the to-do list.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One very cool piece of machinery that I got last year. I think it was last year. It's called a die filer, and what that is you're able to do with that, you can do like almost CNC operations, like rudimentary stuff, by hand, with just this machine.
Yeah.
Jake, remember what I was talking to you about, the one that John Gray's purchasing?
That's
Yes.
a decal,
A decal. Yes.
a pantograph.
A pantograph.
That's for like doing logos, right? And stuff.
No,
No.
you can.
You
But
can,
no, you can. It's a mill.
Oh,
too.
okay.
it's a mill.
it's a-
It's like a multi-axis manual mill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like imagine getting a frame CNC'd out, and then you have it or whatever, and then there's a stylus that you trace that with, and then it has an arm on it that has an end mill in it, and then it mimics your movement.
And simultaneously there's tooling that's, you know, empowering your movements, so to speak.
Yeah. It's like an old school CNC.
The only reason I knew that is because of I hate to bring him up, but Will Moon.
Will Moon.
Use it to do the signature on his blade, but that's the last we should speak of Will Moon.
Yeah, they have them that they have little diamond cutters, so you can like. I think Frank Fisher does it. That
Okay,
way.
there's a better reference
That's
for
true.
us then. Frank Fisher does it.
Yeah,
That's very cool.
but like with the die filer, they don't make them anymore. You can't like just go buy them. So I had to get one on Craigslist. You chuck a file into it. You can use any file, like diamond file, whatever, and it just reciprocates up and down. So with that, like, what intrigued me about that is I'll be able to do my blade cutouts by hand with that machine. So
Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, the blade cutouts seem to be a big fan. So do you always want there to be multiple opening methods on your knives, or are any of them just decorative?
yeah, the whole thing with the blade cutout is alternate opening method, and it
Lightning.
just takes out a little bit of weight too. Yeah.
Especially because you have a lot of knives with very large, wide blades, so that makes sense.
And it just like adds another element to the design, really.
True. So here's the thing. What's your opinion? Chamfered opening hole frame thing or non-chamfered?
Very slight chamfer, like maybe 10,000ths
Yes,
chamfered.
I agree with that as well.
Itty bitty chamfer.
That's my only concern is that Kizer is going to over chamfer the opening hole on the Theta because on the few knives I have with opening holes from them, they're all super chamfered.
These are the things that keep Dave up at
Yeah,
night.
I mean, if it's the way you open the knife.
By looking at it, it's like maybe 20,000ths. So it's almost not even there.
Okay,
really.
nice. Because
Yeah.
people constantly over chamfer it. It's just like
You can be kept awake by over chamfering, or you can be kept awake by the cut on your thumb if you
Yes.
have a certain Spyderco model. Well, one of about 10 or 20,
I've
where there's no chamfer and it's a true knife edge.
I've always preferred that.
Yeah.
The
I-
Theta
I've
works really great at middle finger flicking.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to. Levon and I both want to get a Zeta. We're just waiting for Tackle Outdoors to be able to source them for us. Very excited about them.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I'm happy with them.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it turned out pretty awesome. So I'm very excited about that.
I'm very into that.
Also, the fact that they kept the price relatively reasonable for being a bolster lock is sort of nice. I appreciate that WE was, it's only $20 to $50 more than their normal offering. So that was impressive on their part.
We has stayed the course pretty well with most of their.
Yeah,
offerings.
Riot just kind of jumped out the gym with their pricing.
I will say though, in terms of, I still think Riot's the best one.
Yeah,
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I would say like Riot is just like a little step above.
Yeah,
Wii.
they just don't have
Yes.
nearly the production capacity that Wii does. So I can understand why you would work
No.
with Wii. I mean, they can just churn these things out, which is awesome. I mean, that's what people what people want these days is new designs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the reason I agreed to it was because their quality. You know, I seen them at Blade Show and I was like, whoa, these are really nice.
I can't say anything bad about the Kizer stuff too, because they tend to keep to their value proposition pretty well for
they're
the
pretty
most
hit or
part.
miss. I've had like 12 of them now, so
Yeah.
some of them have been better than others.
The main reason that's so awesome about these like the new crop of Chinese companies is that they're using, you know, great steel.
Materials, yeah.
Yeah. If they weren't using the kind of steel they were using, I wouldn't be, you know, doing anything with them. But yeah, like I was talking to Joe. And he said that they get their M390 directly from Bowler.
I would imagine so, yeah. China M390.
It's real M390. It's not.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's the good stuff. And he was telling me like, whoa, is it expensive?
Yeah, Bowler has a Chinese subsidiary. People have posted like the documents from them now, like the sales forms and stuff. So yeah, I mean sometimes you get China D2, but now most of the time you get the real material.
Yeah. By the way, that was rather funny.
Yeah. What's your take on that?
Yeah, that's I think what everyone wants to hear.
You've worked with
That's
this
a
man.
long story. That's a long story.
I need
man.
to know. We all need to.
I think that's this is the reward.
I don't even know what all I can say.
This is the reward for listening this long.
To be honest with you, I don't think he listens.
Oh,
to
he
this,
definitely doesn't. We've slandered him constantly.
Oh, he may.
Yeah,
but
so
that may
a lot
be
of them
why he
mention
listens to it, though. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, long story short, yeah, we don't work together anymore.
Yeah, he China D2'd all your shit, man. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, the stuff I found out about him like after the fact was just disturbing, and then you know,
Wait, what?
That's a strong word.
I found
You
out
can't just say disturbing and leave it like that.
Well, it's pretty blasphemous. I mean,
Oh.
yeah, it's
Well, maybe after the episode we'll talk.
You can open up after the
Yeah.
episode. Then.
Yikes.
That's very funny. That's very funny.
I mean, it is unfortunate that right as the Eschaton was coming out, that this like sort of very similar looking but incredibly poorly made knife came out at the same time, and I'm glad it didn't take away any of the thunder from the Eschaton. The Echelon.
And for what it's worth, the people who own the browse version
yeah.
seem to love it.
Dude, who owns it?
all those
The browse loyal,
the Browse Loyals, yeah.
and they like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even own one, so
You're just missing out on China D2, so don't worry about it. I don't
Yeah.
think you're really missing out, but that is a story that I think everyone wanted to know.
All we can say is that what we can deduce from this is that he probably lives up to his straight brim.
yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, if you tuck your
Impressive.
ears into your hat, I mean, it just says
They're
a
it's
lot of
almost
things
like
about
they're
you.
not there.
Jeez. Oh, that's fun.
Elijah, you're one of the good ones, man.
Yeah.
We're
I'd like
keeping
to
you
think
around.
so. I mean, yeah.
So where do you see the market going? Since you're kind of on the cutting edge right now.
No pun intended.
Oh, yeah, that was a bad pun. Ooh, sorry guys.
I've tried to predict, where it's going, and I think it is going in the smaller direction. Like, a lot of smaller gentleman style, slip joint esque stuff. Probably.
Yeah, and Austin says this a lot, Epic Snuggle Bunny, and I think he was one of the ones who really articulated the best in one of his videos. Is that you see the resurgence of traditional designs done with modern materials, and it follows in every trend in every market. It's like what's old is new again.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's a very true statement, and you're going to see that a lot in the coming months and probably the coming years.
Yeah, like right now, I've the past couple weeks, I've just now downloaded Fusion 360 and have been working on it, and I've come up with 3 new front flipper designs.
Ooh, the front flipper. That's
How South African of you.
It's very dangerous territory though, because they're easy to do wrong. It seems.
Yeah, I'd say the detent has to be like just perfect to be able to get that thing
Yeah,
open.
because what's funny is that people love Gareth Bull's stuff, and it looks like incredible in pictures, but they apparently seem to have no detent. from
Yeah, the detents on them are super light.
it's like non-existent. So it's like that takes away all the enthusiasm for me. Like I get the fit and finish is fantastic, but like it like is like a gravity knife. It's just like not it's not as cool to me.
Dave, have you ever handled one of the burger knives?
No, but those are.
I feel like you would like.
I mean,
them.
they look nice. I like the aesthetic. It's very simple.
Because it's exactly. It's like the South. It's like another Chris Reeve.
Yeah. It's very simple.
I was going to say the South African Chris Reeve. But yeah, it's they have those things dialed in. I think, Elijah, if you're going to model a detent, try any of the burger knives.
Well,
their frame lock ones, I think that's
Well, we nailed it
benchmark.
on the Booz Smoke TS1 in terms of detents for front flipper. That worked excellently. Sometimes it works so well you accidentally threw it into a glass panel and destroyed the tip, and then had to sell the knife because you couldn't look at it ever again.
And didn't disclose that to the person
Well,
you bought
I
it
sold
from.
it to Pat.
You bought it.
I gave it to Pat for $125. I don't think he.
Oh, that's not
Yeah.
bad.
Or 150, I can't remember, but anyway, it was a good deal. That ruined it for me. But anyway, that was a great flipper. So we managed to do it once. So hopefully they can do it again if you have them make one of your front flipper designs.
Yeah, I might have one of those OEM'd
Nice.
for my
Yeah, nice. What are you interested in experimenting with any locks? I know we touched on the Axis lock, and that doesn't seem like it's really in the cards. But is there anything else that you might want to do? I'm personally not a big like lock innovation guy. I think the frame lock is fine, but people love that stuff.
I've not really thought about it too much. I mean, Michael Walker has like done almost everything there is to do, really.
Yeah.
And Emmanuel Esposito.
I'm gonna have to look that name up.
Oh yeah, Esposito. Insane stuff.
I often, whenever I think of like zany locks, I go to Grant and Gavin Hawk.
Oh yeah, there's some zany shit.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. One of my biggest things is hiding the lock as best I can.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like seeing
Like
it.
from an automotive design standpoint, like it's like stuff that has to be there. You don't want to actually have to design, like rear view mirrors or door handles, but they're necessity in the mechanics of it. So I assume it's like that when you're getting into a high design knife.
That's why concept cars look so good, because they don't have mirrors.
They don't have to do anything.
Yeah, and they have like 30-inch wheels in completely unreasonable like wheel gaps. Yeah.
Right.
But that brings up something that I guess I touch on every now and then. I think about it more than I mention it, but especially for collectors, we always joke about only using our knives to open packages of other knives. The overbuilt knife is a staple in the collection, but it doesn't have to be the only type of knife that we have.
Right.
I think that there really is more room, especially for someone like you, Elijah, to maybe open up the possibilities with design, where it doesn't necessarily have to function as stout as a frame lock that you can stab into a tree and then use it as a step to climb up, and you know what I mean. Maybe you can do a lighter duty type of lock, because the reality is that a lot of these knives are not getting hard use. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the frame lock, liner lock, it's such like a universal design. I mean, you can design anything around it almost.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's very versatile. Yeah.
Yeah, very. Yeah. But yeah, I just need to start thinking about doing something like you were saying, like light duty style lock.
Yeah, just it kind of takes away some of those inhibitions a little bit. Like you don't have go back to the car analogy. You don't have to have mirrors and DOT certification, 5-mile-an-hour bumpers, and glass that won't take your head off in an accident. So,
well, the art knife world has been living by those concepts for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I'd like, like have a lot of that start to bleed into the collector knife or tactical quote. I'm doing air quotes right now, and even though you can't see me, side of things.
That's something I would like to get into, like later down the road. Is just strictly art knives.
I mean, it would be good, because I think the hardest thing, you can tell me what the hardest thing you've had to experience so far with this whole knife thing is, but I think the hardest thing is selling the idea of an art knife to people who are used to tactical knives, because the amount of like hate that the eschaton got by people who are just like missing the point, and I feel like there's a big amount of the market that's never going to get that idea, that like it's not 100% for like pure hard use ridiculous scenarios that are never going to happen, but there are people that just can't get past that idea that like knives don't necessarily need to be that.
That knife almost shouldn't exist, really, because it was supposed to be like a one-off, like, or maybe like one or two customs, and then it became a full production. We made 1,200 of them, so.
And I think, I saw that there was a large number of them made, relatively speaking, and but here's my take on that too: is like those people that are really loud and obnoxious about saying they're not buying it anyway. You don't even have to worry about them. If they don't get it, they don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When I first got the prototypes, I took one of the carbon fiber ones, and I just had to know. So I went outside and took a small little log, and I batoned that thing through it, and it held up pretty well.
Yeah, I mean,
nice.
I don't. Just because it's weirdly designed, I mean, like a quote unquote weird design doesn't mean it's like weak. Like people really just equate really strange things to like strength on a knife. Like all the frame locks out there are probably equivalently weak. Like the frame lock is not a super strong design. So like when people like want the old ZTs, I don't think the old ZTs are any stronger than the new ZTs unless the lock bar cutout was like a few thousandths thicker. Like what else are you?
But what about a Browse frame lock versus a Quartermaster frame lock?
They're both stainless steel, so they're both going to be quite strong.
Equivalent, yeah.
Ooh, yeah, stainless steel frame locks, never a good idea.
Aluminum frame locks.
Hey, my favorite company, Lion Steel, loves those aluminum frame locks.
And don't you also have what do you call it? One of the Japanese.
Oh yeah, what am I saying? Yeah, I have a Rockstead aluminum frame lock over
Rockstead.
here.
Isn't that a 70-75?
Yeah, I'm a 70-75 believer, and I think that's something that will come out probably in the next couple of years. Whether it's taboo or it's offered as an innovation is yet to be seen. But the properties of that metal are much different than people.
Yeah, the rocks.
You know who's using 70-75 right now? His name. I'm just gonna say his name rhymes with Shrill Spoon.
Oh, did you tell me that? I was gonna say RC cars that go 100 miles an hour and then jump like 30 feet in the air and bash into the ground and never break. And they're using a 2.5 millimeter, 3 millimeter thick 70-75 frame. There's a lot to be said about that material.
Also, here's another unknown fact. All Apple products after the iPhone 6 use 70-75 aluminum.
Oh, is that so they don't bend in your back pocket?
That is correct.
It feels great on the Rockstead. I mean, it just feels like a nice titanium frame lock. It just doesn't. It has that really slick feeling because of the hard anodizing on it. But like, it doesn't feel any different. So I'm open to the idea of a 70-75 aluminum frame lock with an insert.
And you can do all the cool anodizing like from the firearms industry, the textured stuff and when they say hard coat.
Stormtrooper theme.
No.
Yeah, you can stormtrooper it. But when they say hard coat, I mean you literally have to remove the metal to remove the coating on some of these things.
Plus it bonds ionically with the metal.
I think it's a very overlooked. We're so used to titanium, which is a really a different class of metal, but there are a lot of applications for different materials in general, which is a great podcast conversation. But
I'm not sure how it would hold up to running bearings on it. You'd probably want to use.
No. I think specifically what I'm talking about is I would cringe at the idea of a 6061 lock bar. It doesn't have the spring memory. It doesn't have the strength. It just doesn't have any of the properties that make titanium so useful in a lock bar. 70-75 could do some of that. Whereas 6061, it would just be a paperweight essentially.
Yep. But hey, Elijah, I mean, if you were still had a good relationship with a certain someone, you could have aluminum versions of your knives put out. But
yeah, there you go.
Who knows what aluminum?
I hate aluminum. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of aluminum.
I mean, I can get it. Like, I haven't. Kept
Yeah, no,
most of them.
it doesn't allow for a lot of artistic expression for the most part, and the stigma of aluminum knives is still equated with cheap.
That's my point. The stigma is more powerful than the lack in
And the
performance.
proverbial lock bar.
But even in titanium, we've moved to a place in the industry now where we need to have hardened washers behind our bearings. Even on a titanium frame lock. So, why?
I'd love to see somebody do an SM100 frame lock.
Oh yeah.
That would,
because that material's so weird.
that wouldn't cost a lot of money. Just kidding.
No.
I guess not. It will until a lot of people start using it.
I don't think the knife industry will ever be big enough to make that material come down in price. But I mean, it's certainly cool.
No, definitely
I think the SM100 wave is kind of come and gone though. No one but Ferrum Forge seems to really be doing anything with it anymore, and even they don't do that much with it.
To hear Elliot talk about that material and as in depth as he does, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's
I guess
he's definitely obsessed with it.
it was developed for NASA. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's crazy stuff. Their Recon 1 had a WR what's his name?
WR.
Yeah,
Bladeworks.
WR Bladeworks with SM100. It was pretty interesting.
Although most of the materials we're using did come from NASA or a similar sized organization, but
from another country,
many decades ago.
Titanium.
Just decades ago. Yeah, titanium for the SR-71 and all the carbon fiber we use, and especially the non-traditional carbon fibers.
Pre-preg unidirect. Yes, that's actually what it's called.
I had an interesting little talk with Matt Diskin about carbon fiber.
Ooh.
Apparently, you have to have that stuff in cold storage.
Mm-hmm. And he's got a lot of carbon fiber in cold storage.
Ask him about his monthly bills for
keeping that
cooling.
stuff.
He was telling me. Yeah.
Does it like delaminate in the heat or something?
Yup.
Yeah, you heat it up, I guess, and then it gets hard.
Interesting.
Kind of like me.
Oh God, that's a good place to end. Sorry, yeah, Levon just ruined that episode. But okay.
At least it wasn't a pun. Turn that into a pun somehow.
Oh yeah, that'll be a true Levon moment.
You can stay par for the course. You can stay on the cutting edge.
I don't know. It's on the tip of my tongue. Something about tempering. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll give you time to think about that one.
Yeah, Brian, you've been quiet.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it tonight. Every time you guys talk, I gag.
He's such a dick.
That's why we love him.
I'm posting that picture right after this episode.
I know you are, you douche.
Come on, you love it, man. Elijah, I'm going to send you this right now just so you can see what we're talking
just for
about.
reference.
All right.
I guess I'll send it to Instagram.
What's your favorite production brand? We went over custom earlier. I'm curious. If you didn't have your own knives made, who would be your favorite? Just consistent.
Well, when I first got into higher end stuff, Benchmade was my favorite.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean we all had that time, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know.
Did you go beyond that, or is that when you started making your own or started designing your own knives? And
that was just a little bit before I started designing.
Yeah. So how
really
has your collecting changed because of that? Are you not really much of a collector anymore? Or are you more focused on your knives, or are you still,
Yeah, pretty much my whole collection kind of consists of stuff I've designed.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be what happens with most makers, even if they were collectors before. It kind of just becomes a collection of their own knives, but maybe.
Or they start to acquire stuff and they don't really know how. I know a lot of makers whose collections are absolutely awe-inspiring. Even stuff like you don't even see, like John Gray's collection.
Oh yeah,
he doesn't see them. They're under like boards.
That 100% true. 100% true. Liang Ma has a crazy knife collection.
Yeah,
too.
John. Well, yeah, because he has
imagine
one of like everything that's been made for him, right?
He has one of like everything that's ever been made.
Well, I mean, at least all. I'm sure he has.
Not just of his stuff, just in general.
Yeah, you definitely have to post this picture.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
Did you see? I'm gonna post that tonight.
If anyone is like unbanked and has all their money in like a durable good, it would be John Gray, and he, instead of buying gold, he just bought custom knives and has them like dug out. He has like holes in his lawn.
You find them in the couch in his shop. Oh my God, that's what we need to do this week. We need to just drop in on John Gray.
Yes. So for our faithful listeners, we might have some live in-person content coming up this weekend.
Maybe.
We could go into it. We'll bust into his shop with a hot mic.
We already did that. It's episode
just see
6,
what
guys.
happens.
It didn't work out very well. He's very microphone.
He is
shy,
very
John
reticent
Gray.
to talk.
He won't shut up normally, but
We'll spy cam him.
yeah. Oh, that's what I had to do at one
I mean,
point.
John is nice, but I don't want to say it was our worst episode, but it was also 100% our worst episode.
It was.
So
He's an awesome guy.
yeah,
Though.
absolutely.
God,
He's
you,
He's the best.
Very
He's
entertaining.
not good at tooting his
you don't
own
understand
horn.
how much like he's like. I love that man.
we'll
Yes, John is like family.
we'll get a redo.
He's literally family. And on that note, everybody have a good night.
Yeah, dead air is how we transition out of episodes now.
That all gets edited out, so we look really polished.
That way you don't have to
Add music.